Why is it that the smartest people in the room are almost never the highest paid? I see it constantly. Genuine expertise, real results, real transformation to offer, and still stuck. Undercharging, trading time for money, and waiting until they feel ready. So in this video, I'm going to show you the psychology behind building a $1 million business with what you already know and how to start actually applying it immediately. Because here's the thing, this isn't theory. I've used this to build an 8-figure business from my own knowledge, and I've helped thousands of experts turn what they know into scalable, high profit offers. And if you're thinking, this is not going to work for me, my niche is way too saturated, or you're just not ready yet, that's exactly the pattern we're gonna break, because that belief is creating your own bottleneck. And I'm also gonna walk you through this in real time and give you a simple framework that you can use to turn your knowledge into a scalable asset right now. And this matters now more than ever, because the way people build businesses is changing so fast. The people who win are not the most qualified. They're the ones who know how to package and position what they already know. And you might be thinking, I just need a better strategy, or I need a better platform, whatever it is. Strategy isn't the missing piece. The missing piece is what we call the internal game. And it's the reason why some people stay stuck while others build million-dollar businesses from the exact same starting point. So in this video, I'm going to give you the full picture. 6 psychological blocks keeping super qualified people from building the businesses that they're actually capable of building. Because here's what I've seen consistently. The business always mirrors the ceiling of the person running it. So before we get into the details, be sure to comment business plan below this video, and we'll send you the link to access our free knowledge bank business plan. It is the fastest way to put what you're about to learn into real action. So we're gonna start with shift 1, the curse of knowledge. The more knowledge you have, the less valuable you think it is. And it is the single biggest reason qualified professionals stay invisible to their own value. So here's how it works. When you know something deeply, when you have spent years developing a skill or a perspective or your unique method or approach, it starts to feel really obvious and normal and kind of basic. And you forget what it felt like not to know what you know. So when someone asks, would people pay for this? You genuinely can't see why they would. Because to you, it doesn't seem like anything special. But here's the truth. What feels basic to you is transformational to somebody else. You have normalized your expertise to the point where you can no longer see it. Does that relate for you? Think about it for a second from the outside. So the person who spent a decade in recording studios, who instinctively knows how to produce sound, how to coach an artist through a performance, how to engineer a track that connects emotionally, that person thinks everyone knows what they know, but they don't. The lactation consultant who has guided hundreds of new mothers through one of the most vulnerable seasons of their lives, she thinks her knowledge is common sense. It isn't. The thing that feels like second nature to you is the thing someone else is actively seeking out, because no one else is spending as much time obsessing over what you do and what you know like you do. That is valuable. So here's how to ultimately reframe this. The benchmark is absolutely not, do I know everything on this topic? Nobody knows everything. The benchmark is, do I know more than the people who need my help? That's it. That is the only bar that matters. And I promise you the answer is an absolute yes. Okay, let's move into shift number 2, the danger of outsourcing your authority. So most people are waiting for someone to give them permission to charge real money for what they do, which is bizarre, but happens to so many people, myself included. So that permission is never coming from the outside, I promise. It can only come from you. And this is the psychology of undercharging. And it has nothing to do with the market. It has everything to do with your own internalized beliefs. I haven't helped enough people yet. I need more credentials. I'm not where the people that I admire are. And the list goes on. I'm sure you have many of these beliefs. And these beliefs keep experienced operators stuck in that time for money model indefinitely, because you actually don't think that you have the value or are worth creating a business that can grow beyond you and beyond your hours. And ultimately, it's not because the market won't pay more. It's because you won't let yourself charge more. So the piece that often gets unsaid, the value of what you provide is directly reflective of what it costs your ideal client to stay stuck. So think about that for a second. If someone is stuck in, let's say, a failing marriage or a failing business, or they have a health problem that they cannot solve and they've tried everything, what is it costing them every single day to not have the answer that you already have? That is the real value of what you offer. Not how many modules are in your program, but how much information you stuff into your offer. It's not how many hours you spend on your work or with clients. And it's definitely not how polished your curriculum looks. The value is the outcome, period. It is the transformation. It is the cost of inaction, and it's the cost of the problem staying unsolved. So here's a really beautiful example of this. So Mike owns 12 restaurants, super successful. He has one of America's top 10 pizzerias, 2 best-selling books, 20 years of genuine expertise in the restaurant industry. And when he tried to monetize that knowledge, he wrote a $99 ebook because that's what felt safe to charge, but no one was buying it. He'd paid startup firms and marketing consultants and brand building companies. None of it moved the needle. He had all of these years of experience, but he didn't believe it was worth charging real money for. So once that shifted and he stopped pricing based on what he felt was safe and started pricing based on the value of the outcome he was delivering to these restaurant owners, everything changed. He generated $89,000 in his first 30 days of launching his offer without actually building it yet, and with nothing more than Zoom, Stripe, and a tiny audience. And in this year alone, he's on track to do just shy of $2 million in his online education business. That's completely separate from his 12 restaurants that he runs. And it's high profit without requiring all of his time, which is why he really wanted to create it. But here's the thing, that sounds almost too good to be true, and I get it. It still takes work, any business does, but the shift isn't complicated. And I think that's important to understand. You have to really go deep and stop for a second and reflect on how you price. You want to stop pricing based on how much time you put in. That is a broken model that will put you in a constant state of being on a hamster wheel and burnout. You want to start pricing based on the value of the outcome that you actually deliver to your most ideal client. So your price is a signal. It tells the market exactly how much you believe in your own results. When you charge what the transformation is worth, clients show up more committed, they get way better results, and they tell more people. That creates this really incredible flywheel effect that grows the business. Before we dig into the next shift, be sure to comment business plan below this video, and we'll send you the link to access our Knowledge Bank business plan on demand so you can put everything you're learning into action to create this scalable business. Okay, let's move on to shift 3, reframing imposter syndrome. This is not a character flaw. It's actually evidence that you are qualified, which I know sounds backwards, but the psychological research on this is consistent. The idea of imposter syndrome most commonly affects high achievers. The more competent you are, the more likely you are to question yourself. Feels really broken. But the people who never question whether they're good enough, they are usually the ones who should. So if you've been treating imposter syndrome as a reason to wait, to build more credentials or give your work away for free or tell yourself, not yet, I just would ask that you reframe it, because that feeling isn't a stop sign, it's actually a signal. It just means that you take your work really seriously and you care about the people that you help and you hold yourself to a really high standard, as you should. That's exactly who should be building this kind of business. True experts, not fake gurus. So Liz Sharma, great example. She is a Portuguese teacher, and she, at the beginning of her business, was making about $1,500 a month. She started with a teeny tiny audience of less than 200 people on YouTube, and she battled every doubt that you can imagine. Was her niche too small? Would anyone pay for this? Was European Portuguese actually something people were searching for online? She didn't feel ready, and she started anyway. And 9 months after launching, she hit her first 6-figure year, then her first 100K month, well on mat leave, planning her mornings around the beach with her toddler. So less than 200 subscribers to start with, and that doubt didn't go away before she started. She started while the doubt was still there. That's the reality. And to be honest, it doesn't matter how much you grow, that doubt kind of always remains. And I think it's kind of healthy. So you don't need to be the best in the world at what you do. You need to know more than the people that ultimately you're serving. Again, that is the bar, and you've already cleared it. Okay, let's move into shift 4, the identity plateau. So you cannot build a $1 million business with a $50,000 identity. Does that make sense? You can have the best strategy in the world. You can have the right framework. You can have the right offer. But if your internal identity is still freelancer or consultant, or I do this on the side, you will subconsciously limit your growth. You will undercharge. You will over deliver and burn yourself out constantly. You will hold onto one-on-one clients you've clearly outgrown because letting go feels unsafe. And the income plateau you've hit is not a strategy problem. It's ultimately an identity plateau in disguise. So Jeffrey is a relationship coach, and he started with just shy of 700 subscribers. And in 4 years, his business has grown to generate $10 million in total revenue, not because of his subscriber count, because he made the identity shift to being a true authority in his space. He priced based on the value of his outcomes. He positioned himself as a true, what we call market of one. So the specific person who helps men save their marriages when divorce feels imminent. And he finally stopped apologizing for the massive amount of value he was creating and started charging appropriately. And the business just followed suit. So that identity shift shows up in 4 specific places. How you price, so value-based, not hourly. How you position, market of one, not generic, I help everyone, that doesn't work. How you sell, so confident enrollment conversations, authoritative, because you are the go-to authority, not apologetic pitching or begging. And how you structure, which is a scalable asset, a scalable program, not unlimited one-on-one. So I want you to sit with 2 questions. The first question is, what would I do if I already believed this was worth charging a premium for? Ask yourself that question. And second is, who do I need to become to build the business I want? And what am I currently doing that completely contradicts that? I want you to write those down, because the first step is that awareness in order to actually make a change and take action. And it really will reveal for you exactly where your work is, what needs to be done. Moving into shift 5, and this is a really tough one for people, leverage versus labor. Working harder is the smallest thinking you can do when you have a ton of knowledge and credibility behind you. The time for money model has a ceiling. Inevitably, it is your calendar. You can be fully booked and charging premium rates and still hit the wall. The reality is there are only so many hours in a day and only so many clients that you can hold at once. And I've actually lived this myself. I was working full time, doing one-on-one work, building what looked like success from the outside, but then I ended up in the hospital at 29 with burnout symptoms. The model was the problem, not my effort, and probably not yours. So the scalable model that we created, what we call coaching at scale, it just smashes that ceiling. It removes it. Your knowledge packaged once can transform hundreds and thousands of people. That is not laziness. That is leverage. And it is the most responsible thing you can do with the knowledge, the expertise, and the experience that you've spent years building. So here's what this looks like in practice. You build a transformational program, and your knowledge is structured into an experience that delivers a real outcome for a very specific person. You enroll clients into that program. Those clients then get results, and those results create incredible word of mouth. And that word of mouth creates more enrollments. Word of mouth and actual proof and results beat any funnel you will ever find. And the beauty of it is, once this starts running and working, the business just starts to grow without requiring more of you. It requires better systems, but not more of your hours, which is what the goal is. Shift number 6 is the 3 assets that you already own. Before we close, I want to leave you with this, because every person watching this, I see you, already owns 3 assets worth far more than you realize, okay? So asset number 1 is your actual story. The journey, the failures, the breakthroughs, the specific perspective that only exists because of exactly what you've been through. No one can replicate that hard-won insight from the failures, the triumphs, the scars that you have gone through. You know, those 2 a.m. moments when you're up and you're trying to figure out an issue or a problem with your expertise, that is yours alone. There is no one in the world who can replicate that piece. Asset number 2, which is your method. So your method is, once you've been doing something for, quite a while and you have that lived experience and that hands-on work, you have inherently a repeatable process that you use to get results, even if you've never given it a name. Even if you've been delivering it informally for years, even if it feels so natural you don't think of it as a system, it's a system. So the work of building this business is mostly making that invisible visible, giving your method a name, a structure, a shape that people can actually invest into and buy and use. And that brings me to asset 3, which I touched on a little bit earlier, your proof, the transformations that you've already created. So client wins, referrals, people who came back, before and afters that you've never thought to document. These are your most powerful marketing asset. And most people are sitting on a gold mine of them without actually realizing it. So your story, your method, your proof, packaged through the coaching at scale model, are the foundation of a scalable, sustainable business. The vehicle is the model, but the psychology and these shifts have to be in place in order to make it work and make it tick. Building a business that scales is what I call an inside job. The tactics matter. Of course, the strategy matters, the platform, the framework, the offer, all of it matters, but none of it actually works if that internal game is broken. If you're still waiting to feel ready, still collecting credentials you don't need, still pricing based on your time instead of your outcomes. So everything I went through today, these are the internal moves that make everything else work. They're not these one-time realizations. They ultimately become a practice because with every new level of success you achieve, these are gonna come up again. New level, new devil. So grab the free Knowledge Bank business plan by commenting business plan below or click the link in the description, and it will give you the clear next step to apply everything in this video. And if you're still watching right now, I know you actually want to take action, so be sure to grab that. Now, if you watch this video and you're thinking, okay, I believe my knowledge is worth more. Now, what do I actually build? That's exactly what this next video covers. So go watch the smartest way to turn your expertise into $1 million. I'll see you there.